Hello and welcome to the EEPROM mine, and we have a proper video for the first time in a long time again, because we have this Husky. We like our Husky machines. This one's a bit newer than the usual ones I normally go for, but the thing that got my interest with this one, as the that pops off, we'll just take that off because it's getting in the way and being annoying. The wrist strap is Husky Alpha Build Prototype. Reduced functionality prototype. Prefer manual for details. Unfortunately, I don't have the menu. Intended for verification and evaluation only. So this is more of a late stage prototype, basically. And this is a prototype of the Itronix Husky GoBook G100. And there's a later G200, which came out in like 2007 or something. But this, from the board here, has copyright 2001. So you're looking early 2000s, kind of basically successor to the FS3, which I've got one of those up there. And of course, it doesn't run MS-DOS, it runs Windows CE. We're going to go with the teardown first, and then we'll just give a demonstration of the software, because it's basically just standard, like, Microsoft Pocket PC, aka Windows CE, and there's not really much to see different to any other one on there. But it's still quite interesting, and there's some interesting stuff going on inside here, because prototype hardware. This is an option for optional compact flash. You can increase storage, because the Windows CE generally uses a RAM disk. And you install the any compact flash usually. You've got your usual stylus, it's a resistive touchscreen. This is removable for various expansions, barcode readers, GSM modems, all that good jazz. And this back panel is removable with 4 screws, nice and easy. And of course, as always, any of you who have worked for Husky, who actually were on the dev team of this, I'll be very interested in hearing from you. Or even potentially, could we get some of the original software that would have been done on this for a demo? That would be very interesting. That would make a nice follow-up video. But yeah, I didn't get a battery with it, so we just have to kind of use a bit of a custom solution. But yeah, in the expansion here, we've got a PCMI slot, so pretty standard stuff you could stick in there that you could stick in just about any other laptop. We've got a CFI thing, I don't know what that's for. We've got a CRM, whatever that is, this one that just is labelled expansion, and that's really about it. I don't know if that's a date code, 0139, I don't know how that would be a date code, because there's only 12 months in a year, unless it's doing the week system, in which case there's God knows how many bloody weeks in a year. On the bottom, it's got these 2 weird connectors that have only ever really been seen in IBM and your standard IR, the most underutilized IO port in existence. Touchscreen, which is nice and makes up for the crappy text tone beep, 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 having to type out through the texting method, which I hate with a passion, and I was glad when that died. And then, of course, your menu, your mandatory Husky key, power, brightness and contrast, and a little menu navigation thing. Because obviously you'd have all sorts of things. Eventually, Husky, rather than ending up with loads of military contracts, ended up with a lot of contracts with like the water boards and power boards and whatnot for this sort of stuff, which is why the FS3 has software for controlling pumps and pump stations, which, bearing in mind we're having pressure problems because of the water company here now, makes me think maybe I should take it down to the pumping station and fix the issues we've been having. Because having fuck all water pressure is really, really annoying. Yeah, try taking a shower of less than 1 bar of pressure. You'll see what I mean. I'm going to pause while I undo the 9 million screws this thing has. But yeah, and interestingly, serial number 7594. There weren't going to be many of these produced, which is why this is probably my rarest machine in the collection now. We got usual headphone jack up the top here. Whee, off he comes. Right, he needs to go this way round. And then we can see the goodies inside. I'm going to unplug some of this because some of it's quite fragile. I can't get to the CFL plug, which is a bit annoying. But this is where things get a bit more interesting. Look all that bodge-tastic wiring. We've got this little almost power regulator up here with a ton of wires that go, one goes all the way over to here. Then you've got other ones that go all the way up the board, like this straggler that goes from this chip all the way down here, past the battery port, along here, and then either there or there. No, that goes into this one. We've got an Atmel, just 8-bit, 8 megahertz little microcontroller. That looks like it's a serial controller chip. We got a Xilinx FPGA, DMC, whatever that means. Ton of just random glue logic. Then we have our RAM, which is about 16 meg, I think, roughly. We'll double check that once I actually have it on camera. We got a main flash, which stores the OS. And we got a processor, which is, if I can gently pick the sticker off, you have a bit of gentle persuasion. It does just have an OK sticker on it. There's a strong arm. It's an ARM variant of Windows for Windows CE, not the x86 variant. We also have just standard rechargeable battery here, which understandably is dead after over 20 years. Crazy to think this is over 20 years. It's crazy to think Half-Life 2 is over 20 years old. And that's all there is to really see in there. No EEPROMs or anything like that. Just standard flash. And these are, yeah, something. And of course, inverters down here, because also you got the power input for those ports. Interestingly, and I'll show this while it's open, in the base station that came with this, you've got the serial, which takes all the power and data and that. But if you look through there, you've got a shiny bit, and that's because there's silver plastic, so you can just point something at this, and you've got the IR communications when it's on the docking bay. And then underneath, you've got the two weird serial ports again. One specifically for communications, which is this one, and one's for power specifically. Not a lot of the other stuff is hooked up to this other than some communication stuff. But sadly, it's not a barrel jack, which is a shame because that would have made powering it up a bit easier. But the thing does power to life when I throw some power into it, and you'll see that. And that's really all there is to show. On this side of the board, there is the CFL driver bits because it uses a cold cathode fluorescent light. Interestingly, if you were to hook up a GSM in here, you'd be holding it upside down because the microphone's up the top and the main speaker is down the bottom, which I found quite funny. It would be like, and it would be like the old Trigger Happy brick phone as well with the size of it. But yeah, I'll put it back together and then I'll get it hooked up to the power supply and we will give a demonstration of it running. Hello! Yeah, my partner's kind of busy right now. He needs some quiet. He's been doing a lot of work that will require late at night. Yeah, we should probably end this call now. Ciao! And we're back to life. And we're not back to life. Here we go, 1997 to 2001. So yeah, the previous model of this would have been the thing. Interestingly, a lot of the windows is not, a lot of the waterproofing is not actually in place, which is not that surprising. Then of course, Microsoft Windows for Pocket PCs. Really is Windows CE in disguise. So you go through the usual setup process when it actually responds, just like modern touchscreens, just as responsive. Tap, 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 punch, finally responds. The takeaway ones are terrible for that. So you have to be so violent with them to get them to do the things. It's ridiculous.
Touch them too quickly.
Then we have to do this next. It forces you to do this, which is really annoying. Just like cut. Paste. Cool. I could not be asked to set all this up because it'll be gone when I next switch it off. Setup is complete. Touchscreen to begin using your device. Oh, if only normal setup for Windows was this simple and easy. So yeah, we've got pretty standard stuff here. Interestingly, when you actually go into stuff, there's not actually an obvious way to close applications when you open them. So you've got recent programs. So we'll go into settings. And we have no X, system, connections. But this is the only Husky thing you can find that's labeled Husky on here. Battery level, allow charger wake up, comms. Here's the 2 ports because they both can do communications as well as power output apparently. You got main connector, options bay, version. This is quite interesting because there we go, SA1110, 206 megahertz, CPU version 1.1, controller version LBAT, platform version Husky US01. So this is probably for the US market, and then the serial number 75000094. Battery info. 7.2 volts. Mine's reading, my multimeter's reading 7.32, so it's gone up to 2.45, so it's still under reading a bit. No smart battery because, well, there's no battery installed because it didn't come with one. It's the only Husky one. Okay, that's how you exit out of it, is okay. Which then means it's in the recent programs. And how you get back to the home screen, God only knows. And if we scroll with this wonderful user interface, memory, we have total of 64 meg, and it does the usual Windows CE thing of doing half of it as the system RAM, half of it as like a RAM disk. Then you've got the storage card, which is installed, running programs, this is where your task manager is. It's about the only way I've found to kill stuff, which is a bit silly, really. Old versions of Windows, what can you say? And then if we go to connections, nothing that interesting there. Programs. Somewhere in here is... I think it's in the system actually. We've got getting a version of the OS and that on it. Husky memory power. If we go to programs, we've only got solitaire in there, which is a bit rubbish. Connections, there's the IR. As you can see, it's a pretty bog standard Windows CE. File Explorer. We've got welcome to... I don't know if you'll hear this.
The Windows Media Player or Pocket PC.
Does that little funky tune. A bit of a blast from the past for some of you, I bet. Oh, backlight's gone off. Does anyone know how to get it back? Also, the flicker reduces as it is on for a bit. Typical cold cathode fluorescents that are rolled. Where's the thing I found yesterday that had the details about the system? Microsoft money, that's old school. I think it's in here somewhere. Today, menus, input. Maybe it is in here. Yeah, it is. Versions. There we go. No, that's still not showing the OS version. Which is actually Windows CE version 3. But I can't find it now. I'm looking for it. Typical. You got your usual menus. Standard Windows stuff. Windows Media, Calendar, Contacts, Inbox. Microsoft Reader. Two fairy tales. And then it doesn't do any of the modern touchscreen stuff that makes sense, that's quite intuitive. And how do we exit out of this? That's a good point. You can't. It's just stuck open in the background forevermore now. Oh. Find, really not that useful. Just, I can't find the thing. Anyway, I can't find the version, but yeah, it's basically Windows CE, which we've also got this beast, this one, which does Windows CE. I'll turn on the backlight so you have a chance of actually seeing anything. There always complains about its backup battery. This one, settings, control panel. This is a bit more traditional Windows. Then you got system. And you got 4 total, like, 8 meg. Device, there it is. System 2.11, so it's an older version of Windows CE. But yeah, this one's 1996 to 1999 copyright. So there's only a few years between them, and there's even a massive jump there between the capabilities. But yeah, it's all quite interesting. I think we've gone through the main stuff I can show off that I can actually find. I knew that would happen. I'd stop recording and I'd find it. It's in About. Microsoft Windows CE. There we go. There it is. The masquerading. See, version 3, build 9616. 1996 to 1999, the same copyright as on this one. That's now just decided to turn off the screen. And then the usual copyright, the processor that's on it, the memory, expansion slot not in use, and owner, there's nothing. Device ID, just Pocket PC. And of course copyrights if you really care to read that. Not that the copyrights would be that valid on it. At some point, hopefully, Microsoft will decide to open source or Windows CE and that, because, well, it's not like it's used for anything anymore. Oh, our backlight just went off. And I think that should cover the main bits for the video. Oh, there we go, main battery's low. This one does the exact same warnings. But yeah, all quite interesting actually, of a prototype Husky computer, more specifically the GoBook G100. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and anyone who worked at Husky during the period this was being developed, I would be very interested in hearing from you, because people have talked about developing the other ones and whatnot, and some later ones, and what it was like when it was taken over by Itronix and all that good jazz. But for now, thanks for watching. I wish this pen would work with the modern touchscreens, and I hope you enjoyed.